Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Yalla Salesforce. We will continue our journey with the Yalla Salesforce Trail Mix. Over the last couple sessions, we started to dig more into business process automation, understanding more about flow and flow builder. We explored together different types of flows, from stream flow to record trigger flow. We understood different elements, from decisioning to looping to collections to variables. And then we navigated through different types of actions, understanding how can we make the flow scalable, and how can we evolve the reusability within the flow by using custom metadata, custom labels, custom permissions, and how can we make all of these configurations outside the flow to avoid creating multiple versions. And then last session was centered around flow builder logic, where we explored mainly having different paths by having a decision and different outcomes. And then we explored the assignment and how can we set variables and all of these great stuff we had together. And then we navigated to the formulas, understanding more the formulas. Today, we will be exploring a new concept, which is the Subflow and the auto launch flow. Auto launch flow is, we agreed before, there is no trigger for it by a user through screen or by a database change like record trigger flow. This will be mainly waiting for someone to call it, like Apex, like an API, like another flow. And this is why Subflow will be. So Subflow is mainly to, when we are talking about Subflow, it's mainly to increase the reusability and the modularity. So rather than having very complicated flow, if we need to take a piece of it, separate it, make it modular, make it reusable in a Subflow, this will be definitely the best practice to go. So that's why the module started with the power of laziness. It's all about reducing the number of copying and pasting different elements within the flow and make it reusable by encapsulating it within a subflow. All right. So in order to achieve that, we need to pass certain parameters, because in order to make it reusable, we need to make sure it's dynamic. And in order to make it dynamic, we need to have defined different variables, passing it from this parent flow to that subflow. And then accordingly, we will have to pass different parameters. That's why you will explore more available for input. We discussed this available for input last time when we were saying we need to define record ID and pass different record ID, and we discussed that this gonna enable us in the future when we add it to a lightning page through an action to pass the current context for the record into that flow. Now it's the same thing. We need to make this variable available for input from a parent flow to a subflow, and then they have this beautiful diagram which is telling you, yes, we are in the parent flow, but we might need post a chatter. And in order to post a chatter, we need to know who we will be mentioning, what will be the record for that chatter, and then after completion, we need to receive back what is this chatter post ID. That's why we are from the parent flow, we will have the post target ID. This is an input parameter to that child flow. And then from the chatter, after we finish, this will be available for output for the parent flow. All right, any questions? So far, so good? Perfect. All right, so let's, as usual, we're gonna start with the hands-on, putting all of this great concept we just learned about in action in a flow, and then we will get back in here to fill any gaps we might have. So we are starting it by creating a flow, and it's gonna be an auto launch flow. As you are all familiar now, that we will go for the setup, and from the setup we'll go for flow. All right, and from flow, the requirement in here to create a new flow, and the type this time is gonna be auto launch, and there is no trigger. We need to, as we just learned, we need to pass certain parameter available for input, and we need to pass this parameter out to enable this to work. So we need to define multiple parameters in here. All of them will be text variables. So I will go in here, new resource. I will be saying this is a variable, and the data type is text, and this is the API I have, and this is available for input. I will do another one, which is the post target ID. So this is the user we're gonna mention. This is the record that we will be relating to. So this is the text, this is the API, and this is available for input. What else? We have the chatter post ID, but this time this is what we created. So this is available for output. Yes. So variable, and this is going to be a text, and this is going to be available for output, and this is the chatter post ID. Then, in order to create a chatter post, we agreed before that we will be creating a text template. So text template will be reused. It's a variable which we can put it in the body for this chatter post. So we will go in here, create a chatter body text template. So in here, text template, and this is gonna be the, and remember that for the chatter post, we agreed that it is not a rich text experience, it's a plain text. So we have to make it plain text in here. And then we need to go for the user mentioned ID. We just created this user mentioned ID variable. So we need to pass it. And in order, after we pass it, we need to utilize it. So all what we need to do in here, we will say user mentioned ID. This is the user. But in order to mention in chatter post, we agreed last time that we need to surround it by square brackets, and we need to say that. Then add the message. So concatenate everything you are looking for. Please review it. And then hit done. So now we prepared as well the text template. So we have two parameters in, one parameter out, and the text template that will be used for the body for that chatter post. Add an action element to post the chatter. All right, so I'll be putting in here post to chatter, and in the post to chatter, this is going to be the label for it, chatter mention post. And this is going to be the API name. The body will be the same text template we just did, the chatter body. And then in here, we will need to have the target ID. It's the post target ID. And finally, we need to have in here manually assign the variable for the feed item ID. This is the return, and we already have a variable which will be passed that. Okay, right. So now we created this chatter post auto launch flow, which will be reused. We can pass today an opportunity ID, tomorrow another opportunity ID. Now we are navigating to the case, and we need to pass a case ID for the target ID. We can do all of that. So we can have now a centralized place. So if we need to evolve this message, rather than going to 7-8 flows that we need to repeat the same steps, or adding another logic, or doing anything in that flow, we will do it once rather than doing it in too many places. So this is the power of Subflow, of reusability and modularity. All right, we're gonna save this one, and it's called post to chatter. That's about it, and then let's activate it. Post to chatter, save, and activate. Now it's the time to use it within another parent flow. So let's go and create a new flow as a parent flow. So back to the flows, I will be creating a new flow, and within the flow, it's a record trigger flow. We need to create a record trigger flow on the case object, and this is when the priority is high. So the idea in here, when we have a case and the priority is high, let's create a chatter post to mention that person. So object is case, and this is when a record is created or updated. We have some conditions, and we have in here the priority equals high. This is what we are trying to achieve. Since we covered last time that there is a difference between the fast field update versus this is before and this is after, and we agreed before that if we need to do an action, we have no choice but using the after, because this is where you can do an action. And then you have another decision to make in here. Do you need to do every time that you are satisfying the conditions, that if any change happen and you are satisfying the condition, send it, or if you need to do it once we satisfy that one, so only when the record is meeting the criteria. This is the requirement in here. Right now, We prepared this parent flow to whenever this happened, we will be firing this one. Now it's the time for calling our subflow. What is the name of the subflow? We need to post to chatter. But post to chatter will be expecting from us to pass certain parameters, which are the record that we will be relating it to and the user will be mentioning. So we will be posting here to chatter. We will say, yes, we need to set those values. What will be the post target ID? This will be the triggering case for sure. So triggering case, and I need the record ID. Who will be the user mention ID? There's going to be the owner for this case. So the one who updated or created this high priority case, this is the one we need to mention. So just alerting with the chatter post. Perfect. So now that means the triggering case, and we are looking for the owner ID. Now we pass all the parameters in. Save the flow and case priority is high. You can receive it back, the chatter ID, the chatter post, in case you need to drive other logic and automation. So this is case, and this is case priority is high. Perfect. That's about it. And we did all of this great automation. Now we have a parent flow. We are passing, just to recap, we are passing those input parameter. We have view output, the resources. We have the chatter post ID back available for me, and I can activate this flow, and now we increased the reusability. All right. So let's go back in here, making sure we didn't miss anything. So the power of laziness. Believe it or not, one of the most important qualities that the admin can be lazy, because this is gonna trigger like the skill set for reusability and modularity and all of these great values that while we are designing. So this is a design guiding principle. If you are building an Apex, you need to put the mindset as well of this reusability, building reusable methods and classes and object-oriented programming and all of these great stuff. If you are building a MuleSoft, it's the same thing, which is the modularity and making like a single responsible flow or method or in order to have better scalability and better maintainability for your code and development and so on. Same thing. It's in here. If you have things reusable, it's easy for maintain. It's easy to troubleshoot. It's making you the power of laziness, which is rather than changing the same thing in 7-8 places, just to do the change in one place. If you need to make a change in your Salesforce org that affect 4 different flows, would you rather to update it 4 times or 1 time? So it sounds like magic, but you can overcome obstacles like unnecessary work through the power of laziness. All right, we have 4 flows that posted the same message to chatter. Now we can make it reusable, sending different parameters, and the chatter, as we know, that it's polymorphic, which can be associated to different objects. So we can pass today case ID, tomorrow pass opportunity ID. It's gonna work like magic. Whenever something about that chatter post to change, update the she updates the duplicate element in all 4 elements. But if we made it subflow and reusable, we gonna change it in once. Using subflow element allow you to reference another flow to run it within the current parent flow. The idea of making changes is just 1 flow instead of all 4. All right, so we are in here building a separate flow for chatter post. She plans to replace duplicate elements in 4 separate flows by using new child flow, and this is exactly what we built. Any questions? All good so far? Perfect. All right. Now let's jump to the challenge, and the challenge is to evolve what we built last time. Last time we were saying the same thing. Let's go for the power of laziness by copying and pasting from like an outcome to another outcome. So add generator product to name opportunity. Is this the flow? Yes. So we built that flow. And if you remember last time, we were identifying from the name of the opportunity, and we navigated into the price book. We got the price book ID, and we showed you last time all the data model from opportunity to opportunity product, and we have price book and we have price book entry. So through when we have an opportunity in here, created, we were getting the price book, which we said we have a standard price book, and this is allowing us the flexibility to have different price across different price books. And then we were checking the opportunity name, and we have multiple outcomes. If it's 1500, we are taking this, go to and get the product of the 1500, go to the price book entry for that specific product we just fetched with the price book entry ID for the standard, get the price book entry record, and then we were creating opportunity product based on those information. And then if you remember, we just navigated from here 1500 branch into the 2000 branch in here by copying all of that. But if you remember, there was pain in here. We went through here and say 2000, and then we were still referencing the 1500, so we deleted all of these things to start referring to the 2000 instead of the 1500, with room for error if you missed something. Plus, if tomorrow we decided to have 3000 and 4000, we need to keep branching and we need to keep copying and pasting. And this is again the power of reusability and subflows. We can delete all of that by moving this logic into a subflow, pass all the required parameters, and then when we pass those parameters, it's done. Accordingly, if we have 10 outcomes tomorrow for different products, what we're gonna do, rather than copying and pasting the 3 elements and reconfiguring and so on, what we're gonna do, change the parameter. Now it's 1500, tomorrow it's 2000, and this is exactly what we're gonna build. All right, so in the opportunity product creation flow from unit 1, replace the elements of the subflow element that reference another flow. Also add another product path to the parent flow, which will like stress on the point of the reusability and the flexibility for scaling and expanding this flow. All right, so create a text variable called product KW, and this gonna be available for input for sure, because we need to pass it, but this is not in here. We need to create first a new auto launch flow. So I'll go in here, new flow, and this is new auto launch flow, and I'll be creating an element in here saying this is a variable and this is the API name and this is text. So what we are doing, create a text variable, and this is for sure available for input. This is the 1500 versus the 2000. Same thing, I need to create another text variable just to know which context we are in. We are in which opportunity. So in the variable in here, I will say text, and this is available for input, and this is the opportunity ID. All right, done. What else? Create another text variable, which is price book ID, because if you remember here in that flow, we have the price book ID. This is regardless which product we are talking about. We are talking about standard. So rather than having this get price book within the subflow and make it simple as possible, we are just saying in here, I'm expecting this as a variable. So this is the price book ID, and this is again extended. This is available for input. All right, so far I'll be passing 3 things. What is the opportunity triggered this? What is the product, whether it's 1500 or 2000, and finally the price book ID. Now, what we used to do in here, after we do this, we are getting the product. So we are going in here, get the 1500 product, and we have the product name contains 1500. Now we're gonna make it generic based on a parameter. So I'll go in here within the same flow builder. I will say get records, and within get records, I will be getting that product. Same thing, but now it's more flexible. Get product, and I will be going in here to the product object, and finally I'll say product name. Same exact logic. Product name contains, but rather than hard-coded 1500 or 2000, I will be saying pass for me the parameter for product KW. And then I will need to go and get the price book entry. The price book entry, now we were using the product we just received plus the price book entry ID. Do we have both information? The answer is yes. One is parameter and one came from here, which is the get product. So the next one is get record. And the get record in here, I need to get the price book entry. All right, here we go. And this is the price book ID. And this is the get price book entry. Price book entry. What we're gonna pass, we will be passing the price book ID. And here we go. And this is a parameter. If we can see price book ID, simple parameter. What else? I have the product ID, and the product is coming from get product ID. Here we go. So we got this one as well. Now it's all about creating the opportunity product. And in order to create the opportunity product, we were using opportunity ID, price book entry ID, and the quantity and total price. We're going to do exactly the same thing. So create record. In order to create a record, all of this is just to get all the information, but nothing touches the database unless we started to use a data element. Yes, create opportunity product. So this is the create opportunity product. And then I will say this is manually. That's absolutely right. So in here, rather than in order to construct a record variable, that means I need to create a variable and I need to do assignment and so on. But since we didn't do that, this wasn't required, I will be doing it manually. And this is for opportunity product object. What are the attributes that we're gonna set first? Opportunity ID. So I will do that, opportunity ID, and this is an input parameter, if you remember. So this is an opportunity ID. What else? We need to set the price book entry ID, and we just got it. So price book entry ID, and this will be get PBE, and this is gonna be the record ID, price book entry ID. What else? We have the quantity and we have the total price. So quantity is 1, and this is 1, and finally we have the price, and this is the total price, and this is coming from the price book entry as well. So PBE, and this is the price. That's the price. We got it. So I will save it. I will be taking that label in here and go for here for the flow label and just to save it and activate it. All right. So now we prepared the reusable part, which is the subflow. Now we need to go back to the parent flow, and we don't need those anymore in the parent flow. We don't need to get product. We don't need to get the product price book entry. We don't need to create the opportunity. All what we need to pass which product, which opportunity, which price book ID. So let's go back in here, go this, and let's delete it. So one of the things that we're gonna learn, so in order to delete it, you need to go like this, delete from bottom to up, because those are referenced. The other way around is to go for free form, and now you will say just delete, okay, delete, using rather than using it like one by one. And then once you finish all the delete, you can easily go back to the auto layout, and now we cleaned it up. So this is just faster because you can't in here click delete. You need to like go in here and so on. So the auto layout will make it easier for you. Now it's the time for Subflow. Do we have the Subflow in here, which is Subflow create blah blah blah? You will not find it. Why? Because we need in here for now, save it as another version. We created this Subflow after we opened this one. So we need to go back, and then we need to open the flow one more time. And in here, we will need to save it as a new version because it's already active. And now let's experience again the deletion part one more time. I will go in here, say delete, delete, delete all of these gray components, and then I will go back to the auto layout, lose position. That's absolutely fine. And now it's the time for the Subflow. The Subflow is create generator of opportunity. All right, so what we're gonna name it? So we deleted all of these components as instructed. Now it's the time for selecting the Subflow, and now create 1500. It's the reusability, the power of reusability. Now, opportunity ID, price book ID, I have all of these informations. So in the opportunity ID, so it's triggering record and the ID. Triggering here is the get price book ID and again the ID. Finally, the product KW in here is the 1500. We are in the 1500 range. Save it. So now the power of laziness twice using the subflow and copying and pasting. So I'm copying the 1500, pasting it in here, going in there, removing the API as we agreed last time in order to reflect the new one. I'm gonna change the 1500 into 2000 and in here became 2000. And all what I'm gonna do, see the magic? All what I'm doing, passing different parameter from 1500 to 2000. Next one, and now the magic gonna happen. I need tomorrow to add 1000. How can I do that? All what I need to do is adding into the decision one more outcome and copy and paste the same subflow into the 1000. So in the check opportunity element, add a new outcome, label it 1000. So I'm in here, one new, and it is gonna be like that. And then the resource is triggering opportunity name contains. This is the same thing, triggering opportunity name contains 1000. That's it. And now, once we done that, done. Now we have the new branch, copy element, pasting element. So we did all of these great stuff, and all what we're gonna say, create 1000 product. So I'll delete this guy, I'll be putting this guy, putting that guy, and changing the parameter in here to be 1000. Any questions? So far, so good? Lovely. So create opportunity 1000, activate it. Nice. And let's validate. So power of reusability and modularity one more time. It's all about keep repeating the same thing. So stop repeating things. So rather than that, take it to a subflow, having the parent flow, pass all the required parameters, receive all the required parameters, and you will find this is the power of laziness to be more productive. All right, we made it. So let's move on. The next module will be talking about another concept that we discussed last time, which was the custom permission. And it's all about the custom permission is mainly to define a persona. We agreed that the best practice moving forward to use a vanilla profile that has nothing like minimum access. And if we started to overuse this profile, so it will be harder for us to say if the profile is sales, do this. If the profile is service, do this other thing. If we have, so we, in order to start, so like onboarding lead here in this, if we have, this is for onboarding lead, take the screen flow to this specific experience, but if it's not onboarding lead, skip certain screens and go for the other branch. How can we do that navigation based on the persona to different branches within the flow? This is the power of custom permission. All right, so custom permission, again, it's a flag that we define. We assign it to a permission set, and then we assign this permission set to a user. If you have this permission set, you will have this custom permission. If you have this custom permission, this is gonna return for us either true or false. If it's true, you can take the flow in a direction, and if it's false, taking it to another direction. Right, so let's see it in action as usual. All right, so all what I'm gonna do, I'll do custom permission, and within the custom permission, I'll be creating a new custom permission. And let's name it the same one. So last time we were saying group A and the group B and so on. Now it's onboarding lead. We defined a onboarding lead custom permission, but custom permission doesn't work on its own. We need to go and create a permission set. And within this permission set, and it can be in the profile for sure, but we are saying that the best practice, vanilla profile, and custom, and the permission sets to expand it. All right, so I will say onboarding lead custom permission, and I'm gonna save it. What I need to do within this permission set, I will need to go to custom permissions, and I will say I will be adding this custom permission to this guy, which is the onboarding lead. Now I have a permission set with this custom permission. Let's create a screen flow now, and let's see those parameters. Screen flow. So I have a screen flow in here, and I can say we can do it as one screen with a formula, or I can say having a decision, exactly like they are explaining. I can have a decision and saying this is an onboarding lead, and this is will be not onboarding lead. All right, not onboarding lead. All right, so we are defining now two outcome. So onboarding lead and not onboarding lead. All right, if it's onboarding lead, when this gonna be true? If I have in here, you will find in here running user permission. I have onboarding lead equal true. That means I have this custom permission. It's gonna go for a certain experience. If I don't have this one, it will go for the other experience. All right, so screen, I will add a screen, and I will say screen onboarding lead. We have it in here. I don't need a header, and all what I'm gonna say in here, welcome onboarding lead. And it is an API, so I need to remove all of that. So welcome Mr. onboarding lead. This is what I'm doing. This is done. If I have this one, I will go into that branch. Define, we can even define in here. Let's have a formula. Let's have both. So I can say if I have within the running user this guy onboarding lead, that means if this is true, show me the onboarding lead. Oh, Mr. onboarding lead. And if not Mr. onboarding lead. Let's play. All right. So now let's validate that syntax. And I need to make this text, check the syntax, and it's done. Formula onboarding lead. Done. So let's have it in here. So this is just a hard coded based on the decision, but let's as well play with the formula. So I can go in here and I will say, show me this formula as well. So it's gonna be dynamic. So we can have it even on the top. And in there, I will copy that element, put it in the default as well, saying, welcome, Mr. not onboarding lead. And the same formula, I can reuse it, and I will say not. All right, done. Save it. Onboarding lead, custom permission. Here we go. And let's debug it. I am a user that does not yet have this permission set. Accordingly, I'm expecting that I'll go into the path, into the screen that it's not onboarding lead, plus the formula will find out that I don't have it, so it's a false. It will show again the not onboarding lead. All right, so welcome, Mr. not onboarding lead, coming from the path that I didn't satisfy that condition. Accordingly, I went to the default outcome, plus the formula got evaluated, and I'm not Mr. onboarding lead. Now, let's go for the permission set and manage assignment. And I will add it to myself in here. So Yalla Basim. Next, and let's have it assigned. Now I have it. All what we need to do is to run this one again. And now, automatically, found that I have this custom permission, so it got evaluated to true. The decision went to the branch that have Mr. plus the formula got evaluated as well and showed Mr. onboarding lead. Any questions? So far, so good? Lovely. So this is the custom permission. So the power of decisioning with a custom permission. All right. So the running user permission global variable return true only if the running user has a specific custom permission. It's the output, either it's true or false based on if you have the custom permission or not. Custom permission can be assigned to profile straight or to the permission set. Certain tools such as validation rules, redirection rules, restriction rules, and flows, all of that can use the custom permission. All right, and all what we're gonna do, use running user permissions. And let's look another example. In here, we are saying user has custom permission, show certain things versus no, do not show certain things. And again, we are saying it evaluate to be a true or false. So this is like a flow chart diagram, and this is evaluating the same custom permission we just did. And this is exactly what we just did. Onboarding lead equals true, go for that route, otherwise go for that. All right, we made it. Now, the next one is make a long distance connection. I might be doing a lot of great stuff, and once I did all of this logic in the assignment, I need to go back to decide whether I still need to do here or I need to go to the other path, because I might be already changing the data that will make me go to the other one. However, if you can notice in here, this can end up in a very bad loop that I'm doing in here, going back, going back, going back. Salesforce will not stop you doing that. However, you might be hitting easily governor limits. So be sure when you have those long distance connection that you are not ending up in an infinite loop scenario. The flow builder canvas keep your element neat and tidy and prevent connectors from becoming a tangled mess and so on. But you don't want to just flow along the ride. It's as we agreed that we used to have the flow as the train going from up down, but now we are changing that pattern. You need to have the flow flexible, which will allow you to navigate from branch to another and have all of these great connections. You can connect an element to any element in the canvas, even if it's a previous element, as we are saying in here, but this come with a risk of infinite loop, so be careful. Go to connectors, create a non-linear connection in a flow, or hide their path to prevent clutter and confusion. If you arrange connector in a way that run element more than once, Flow Builder will not stop you if that behavior makes an infinite loop. When it runs, the infinite loop will exceed Salesforce limit and cause an error. Even if finite loop can hit limits, if you are not careful. So make sure that you are avoiding that scenario. And all what we are saying in here, that I can come in here saying connect to element. And when I am in this one, it will ask me which element I will be connecting to. So I will say in here, not onboarding lead. So whenever I'm in here saying go back and reevaluate, all right? Sounds perfect. Follow these steps, connect to element, and this is exactly what we did. Move your elements here and there and everywhere. This is what we were just doing. We copying from here to there. We can also cut from here to there. So we have all of these great flexibility. Finally, the delete, which we just did by doing the free form and hit that delete. And that's about it. Any questions? So far, so good. It was helpful. We are now understanding what custom permission means, what subflow means, how can we like take our flow to the next level of reusability and modularity, and having this custom permission derive the customer experience based on flagging this persona having this custom permission. Sounds awesome, right? So let's go for the quiz and wrap it for today. What a value does running user permission global variable return if running user had the specified custom permission? We kept repeating it's true or false. What menu option do you select to create a non-linear connection? So connect to element. Woohoo! We made the flow builder logic. If there's no more questions, thank you very much for joining us today and have a wonderful day. See you next week. Bye-bye.